Hello, my name is Alex Vlahosotiros, and I'm going to tell a story of the boy who drew cats. Once upon a time, there lived a boy named Seishu. He's from ancient Japan. He lived in a very small town with only a few villagers. Now, in this town, there was a horrible drought, and of the big family, all the boys and the girls would help their parents to collect rice in the fields. But Seishu was very small, and he could not help his parents. And they were afraid that Seishu would never grow very big or very strong. But Seishu was clever. He was the most clever of all of his brothers and sisters. And his parents had a lot of hope that someday he would become a priest. But while he was sitting in the fields with his parents, he would play in the grass. And he would sit in the dirt and draw pictures. He would draw pictures of mountains and of birds. But his favorite thing to draw was cats. Cats, cats, cats. All kinds of cats. Big cats, small cats, fat cats, hungry cats. It was as if all he knew to do was to draw cats. Finally, his parents got fed up, and they said, "Seishu, you must leave. We are going to send you to the priest, and someday you will become a priest. At least that is our hope." So they sent him in good faith and asked the priest to take their boy, for he was very clever. So the priest took him in and taught him all that he knew. Seishu worked very hard. He studied to the best of his abilities, for he was very clever. However, one day the priest noticed that there was drawings of cats in his books, on the walls, on the pillars. Everywhere there was cats. And the priest was furious. Yet he had patience. He told Seishu, "Last chance, you away." But it was as if Seishu could not help it. All he knew how to do was to draw cats. So finally the priest bid him on his way, but he gave him one final piece of advice. He said, "Seishu, avoid large places at night. Keep to small." So Seishu left, but did not know where to go, for he could not go home. His parents could not feed him. So he decided to go to the next monastery, about 12 miles away down the road. And on his way there, he stopped at a village. In the village, they welcomed him warmly, and a woman said, "Avoid large places at night. Keep to small." Yet Seishu did not understand why she had said this and why the priest had said this. Yet he kept it in the back of his mind and thought maybe someday he would be able to use that information. And the next morning he went to the monastery. What he did not know was that a giant had gone to the monastery before and had killed all the priests that had lived there and was living in the monastery. So Seishu walked up unknowingly, but he saw a light, as if there was someone who had lived there. So he knocked on the door 3 times. Knock, 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 and no one came. He knocked again, no one came. And he found that it was not locked, so he let himself in. He walked around and thought it was awfully quiet in the monastery. And there was dust everywhere. He did not understand why. So he sat and waited for someone to come. And he waited all night. Till finally he decided to get up and walk around and look for a snack. But instead of a snack, he found a paintbrush and some ink. And of course, what did he do? He drew cats. Cats, 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 big cats, small cats, fat cats, hungry cats. All over the walls, all over the pillars, and all over the beautiful white screens. So perfect for drawing cats. He drew cats all night until he was exhausted. He could not keep his eyes open any longer. But before falling asleep, he remembered what the woman in the village had said, and he remembered what the old priest had said. For they had said, avoid large places at night, keep to small. So he looked down and saw a small cabinet, perfect for his size, for he was very small and weak. So he crawled in the cabinet, closed it shut, and fell fast asleep. But he awoke to a loud scream, to shouting, to fighting, and he was too afraid to look out the little crack in. But he was startled when a large claw had ripped through the cabinet and started pulling downwards. But Seishu was so terrified that he didn't know what to do. He sat there and trembled and hoped that it would go away. He sat there all night through the fighting and the screaming. Daybreak, he saw the eyes, and everything was still. So he slowly opened the cabinet, came out, and looked around, and lying in front of him was a monstrous rat the size of a cow. And he knew then that it was the goblin that had plagued the monastery. But he knew not how the goblin had died, for there was no one in there. No one had come and no one had left. Walking around, he saw that the cats had red on their lips, as if they had sprung to life in the middle of the night, came out and started walking around and attacked the goblin. And so it goes. The boy who drew cats killed the goblin that plagued the monastery, and until this day forth, he's been drawing cats ever since. Thanks.